Okay, so this is the second part of talking about our core with a spinal cord injury or being paralyzed. And honestly, it's probably just not us either. It's anybody that has any kind of muscle disease or injury that has caused those muscles to no longer work. So that could be muscular dystrophy, that could be spinal muscular atrophy. I got friends with other issues and they got the same issue. So it's not just spinal cord injuries, but since that's my life and my channel and that's what we're talking about, I will discuss it in that way, but it can refer to anybody that has a lack of muscles, aren't getting life anymore and getting fed, and they're gonna have these issues too. So if you haven't watched the first video where we talked about just what it means to be paralyzed in the core and how that's for our stability and stuff, then I'll link that down below and you wanna check that out too. But bouncing off of that video about being paralyzed and your core affected, and for me, I'm a C5, C7 incomplete quad, and so I don't have any sensation or voluntary muscle movement from my chest down. So my active movement is all through here in my shoulders, and I want to describe what it means to have a quad gut or a parabelly, and that's kind of the joking world, the paraplegic world, or the quadriplegic world. But it's not funny at the beginning when you're trying to figure out your new body and what it's doing and why it's doing it, and suddenly you think, I've not really had a belly my whole life. Maybe you're even super thin, and that's great, or you've been super fit, and then you have this spinal cord injury, or maybe you've even always carried weight, but you're like, I never carried it in my gut. And that was me. I never carried any weight in my stomach. I carried it in my hips and my butt and my chest and things like that, but I never had a problem with weight or having this gut sticking out. And so you're thinking, what in the world happened? And so for me, when I was paralyzed, I was pregnant, and so I had to finish that pregnancy, but I never, after I had my baby, I never could get back to and he was number 6, so I knew how to have a baby and get back to my shape and condition, and I just couldn't do it, and it didn't happen. And so I was like, what is going on? So it's an education for me, and I want to help you understand that too, if you're in that position, or you know somebody in that position, or you just want to know more. And thanks for watching if you're just trying to be curious and learn. We appreciate it. So what it is you have bones. We have our bones, and then you have muscles. We all know anatomy. Muscles surround that bone, and there's tissues and tendons and ligaments, and muscles help keep all that in place. Your knees in place because those muscles are operating, and they stay balanced. And then you've got your fat layer. So you got bone, then you got muscles and tendons and ligaments, and then you've got fat layer, whether that's little or big, there's still a fat layer, and then you've got skin that goes over all that. Well, what happens when you're paralyzed is muscles that aren't activated and used very often get they start atrophying, and they kind of go away, and we can become very jello-like was how I would describe it for me. Now, if I have spasticity and spasms where I have involuntary movement, then I can get really stiff and rigid, and it's difficult. But typically, you're pretty. You don't have control. And so our joints, this is why we can be sometimes more flexible, is because that muscle atrophies. And so the tendons and tendons and ligaments, if I get it out right, they're not protected and kept in place as easy by that muscle because it's atrophied away. And then you only have your fat layer and then your skin. And that is why it's also easier for us to get pressure sores, because we have a limited layer now of that muscle tissue that helps protect that bone from coming through our skin. So actually, people that are super thin have a higher even risk of the pressure sores, because their bone, they don't even have that much of a fat layer to help protect that. And so a fat layer at least does help give some of that extra cushion for your bones not to get through. And that's my excuse for not being thin, and that's my story, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm just trying to prevent pressure sores, right? I'm just joking. However, with the core, when you lose these muscles, if you think about it, we have bone from our spinal column and we have bone in our rib cage. But other than that, in here, in your gut and in your belly is your major organs. We got a lot of organs. We've got lots of intestines, right? Going all down through here. And then you had muscle, that your ab muscles, your back muscles, all these muscles just kind of hold all that in place. So when you get paralyzed and that goes away, then all you really have is your fat layer, and your skin is now really the only thing holding that stuff in, and it's heavy, and our inside guts weigh things. They weigh. And so over time that extends that even more, and as that muscle atrophies away, it's got to go somewhere, and it's not going to stay neatly in place like we've always been able to do it. Now, the way you can counter that is you can wear an abdominal binder. A lot of people do that just because it helps give more stability. I struggle with an abdominal binder. I've really not found one yet that I can keep on very long because it just irritates my skin to death and my nerve pain goes crazy. So I even have to be careful with some types of clothing. This is super soft, so it can be a little more fitted, but you see me in a lot of loose things a lot of times because it just really gives me a ton of nerve pain all the way down if stuff is too textured on my skin, and it's just one of my weird things. However, so I don't wear an abdominal binder. I do wear maternity jeans, and they have a panel, and it is softer most of the time, and I can keep that up a little higher. It doesn't really help me with stability, but it does kind of help seem to stabilize some of my stomach a little bit. And I obviously am and have meat on me, and so I'm not thin. So, but I've got some good friends, and they wanted to be a part of this because it's a big misunderstanding. You would not believe how many women with spinal cord injuries, higher level spinal cord injuries, either a higher T level or a cervical level, get asked if we're pregnant. And that is because, I hate doing this because I should be all insecure about this, but all to learn, right? And so the reason is because you have this belly all the time, and we can't make it go away. I could lose weight and it would be a little less of a belly because I wouldn't have as much fat layer on it, but I don't care if you're a size 0. You are going to have a gut. And some of my sweet friends that are different sizes than me, I want to represent all sizes of women because none of us need to be body shamed or feel bad about this. It's just a part of a spinal cord injury, and men have it too. They got the same quad gut that annoys them, and there's not a lot you can do. There's really not anything you can do about it. We can't exercise it away. You can't diet it away. It's because you have, as long as you have internal organs in you, you are going to have a stomach that protrudes, and it can be quite annoying. So you just need to wear clothing that makes you feel comfortable and works for you, but don't become insecure about this. This is who we are now, and this is our life, and we can choose to embrace it and love every piece of it, including our tummies, or we can hate it and still not do anything about it. And I just think that's a silly way to live. So it is what it is. Let's understand it, and we can help other people understand it. So no, I'm not pregnant, and you're probably not pregnant, but it is the quad gut. So I'm gonna insert some photos and let you see lots of us in different stages and different sizes, and it doesn't matter because I want you to have an understanding. This is not about being fat or thin or exercising it away or dieting away. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a spinal cord injury, a lack of any core muscles, and all we have is skin to hold that in. And skin stretches over time too. Muscles atrophy away over time. So if you're a new injury, this is gonna happen if you have a higher injury. And it's better that you know it and understand it and just say, hey, it's a part of it. Just like the wheelchair is part of it. You might as well learn to love it because we need it. And it's a part of our life now. So just rock it. Right? Okay, I hope this helped you understand. If you have any questions, shoot them my way. I'll try to answer them if I can. Thanks for watching.